What sugar makes to your body? This is a question many people ask themselves, but just a few really understand what happens when they eat sugar. And there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding around this. I've been studying human physiology for over 5 years and coaching people, and I get this question all the time. And because of social media and TikTok, Reels, Instagram, many people have a lot of misunderstandings around what really is sugar and what makes to your body. So to explain this as briefly as possible and to give you a clear understanding on how this works, I want to tell you a quick story. Weston Price, he was a Canadian dentist and biologist. In 1930, he did something that nobody was doing back in the epoch. He wanted to study the malformations of people in their teeth. So he traveled to distant mountains to meet with the Inuits, a group of Eskimos that had not yet been reached by industrialization. Their diet was exclusively from animal sources, which means that they were eating meat primarily. They had zero malformations in their teeth and a good bone structure in their faces, and completely free from heart diseases or problems with cholesterol, which are really normal today. We see a lot of doctors recommending do not eat meat or animal sources because they are high in cholesterol to all the people that have problems with their cholesterol. And so right here the Eskimos were consuming incredibly more amount of meat that the people eat today, and they were completely free from cholesterol diseases. So what is the real problem? Another experiment take place by other group that just was reached by industrialization, and they started developing malformations, clogged arteries, and bad mental health after changing their diet. And it wasn't because they were chewing more than when they ate meat. So today, around 66% of packed food contain added sugar in it. And today the average American consumes 150 pounds of sugar per year. Just to give you perspective, 100 years ago, that number was 88 pounds per year. Just 100 years ago. Take a scale and compare that so you can see how crazy that amount looks when you actually look at it. So when we understand this, and we understand that sugar is just a carbohydrate, and every carbohydrate you consume ends up in form of glucose in your body. This happens when you eat a banana. When you eat a banana, you get fructose, that is the main carbohydrate from fruits, and from the fructose, your body converts into glucose to use it. And what is your body using the glucose for? First is skeletal muscle, like all your muscles, your biceps, your quads, every muscle of your body basically is using glucose. So when you go and work out, the main component that your body uses to generate energy is glucose. The second one is cardiac muscle, so basically your heart. And second is organs, your gut, your brain, your stomach. All the organs of your body uses glucose to function properly. So basically when you go and do activities, when you do hiking, you do biking, you do kayak, you train, you work out, you do any activity, you walk to in the street, or even when you think and you are working in something, your brain is using glucose. So you get the point. Glucose is used by your body to basically do all the normal functions that you do in your day by day. Now, the problem is not the poison, it's the doses. So let's take a mango as an example. A mango of 400 grams, which is a huge mango, contains 135 to 200 calories approximately and 45 grams of sugar. So 45 grams of carbohydrates, because that's the amount of sugar. And also you get a lot of vitamins, a lot of nutrients, a lot of things that your body uses to absorb all the nutrients and to function properly. Now, what happens when you eat a Feastable, this Mr. Beast thing? Let's say you eat the same amount of grams, 400 grams of bars, which are like these, each one of this is around 60 grams. So yeah, let's say one is 60 grams, you get around 7 if you eat 400 grams. So you eat 7 of this, 400 grams, the same. You get 2,333 calories. That's insane. That's more than 10 times that you get in a 400 grams mango. And you also get 180 grams of sugar. So you see that this is also like 3 times the sugar that you get in a mango. So you are consuming a lot more calories, a lot more sugar, and less vitamin and minerals, which are key to actually absorb all the nutrients and the proteins that you consume in your day. So 50%, to understand this, 50% of the diet is carbohydrates in a high active individual, approximately. This number can have variations, but I have an example of one of my recent clients. He wants to build muscle, he wants to train hard, and also have energy to focus at work and also learn a new language, which requires a lot of mental power and use of your brain. So that individual is 165 pounds. So I'm using the example of my client here. His consumption of carbohydrates daily is 325 grams per day, which is 50% of the total calories that he has to consume per day. So what happens if that individual, instead of consuming 325 grams of a day, consumes 650? So he eats double the carbohydrates that he needs to eat per day. And also, this person stop exercising and start taking elevators. He drive his car to work and start being sedentary. He doesn't work out, he got lazy, and he doesn't want to do anything. So the glucose level of this person is gonna increase when they eat carbohydrates. So it's gonna start, the glucose in the bloodstream is gonna start looking organs, muscles, places to basically feed the glucose to the organs and to the muscle. And if there's enough everywhere, because if you don't use your muscles or your organs, and the way you use your organ is by moving, right? Then there's no place to save the glucose and to send the glucose. So what does the body do with all that extra glucose that it has? What happens is that first is gonna refuel the glycogen. The glycogen is the way that your body saves the glucose. So basically the glycogen is saved primarily in your muscles and also in your liver. And the storage capacity is limited. It's around 80 to 120 grams in the liver and 300 to 500 grams in the muscles. When all those places are full, the system moves into phase 2. So there's no muscle or organ that need glucose, so we try to refuel the glycogen reserves, but there's also enough. So where do we go next? We increase oxidation, so we burn more. If glycogen is top off, the body increases the carbohydrate oxidation, so basically you burn more glucose and temporarily suppress fat burning. high insulin equals to more glucose and less fat oxidation. So you don't immediately gain fat, you just stop burning it. Third, convert the excess into fat. Basically, this is lipogenesis. So when glycogen is full and the excess is constant, so every day we get an extra amount of carbohydrates, the liver convert the glucose into fatty acids and then into triglycerides, which is the way that your body saves your fat levels. And here is where insulin's roles take a place. So when you have a high carb intake and you still eating ice cream, you're still eating every candy, chocolate, a lot of bread, waffles, and a lot of snacks, things that are high in carbohydrates, high in sugar, so you intake of carbohydrates still high. What happens when this is basically going inside your body? Your insulin raises. So insulin drives the glucose into your cells and avoid the lipolysis, so the fat breakdown, and it promotes fat storage when energy surplus exists. So you are eating more calories than you need, and basically insulin itself is the villain, is chronic surplus. And what actually makes people fat is not the carbohydrates alone, is chronic calorie surplus, high carbohydrates and high fat combinations, low activity, and poor metabolic flexibility. So when you have carbohydrates in excess while you are sedentary because you don't use those carbohydrates and you are eating more than you need, then you have fat storage. What also happens when you keep your carbohydrate intake high is that you get more lipoproteins with low density. So basically, the lipoproteins that transport your cholesterol contains more fat. This is known also as LDL, so low density lipoproteins. These proteins are the responsible of failing when they are transporting cholesterol to the cells, and there is where cholesterol create plaques in your arteries and you get arteriosclerosis, which is this issue where your arteries are clogged, right? So we can see it's not a cholesterol problem, because cholesterol is key to create hormones and different processes inside your body, mainly steroid hormones. The problem is sugar. Sugar is just a carbohydrate that your body uses and you need it. The problem is that when you consume more than you need and you need less than you consume. So basically you don't do exercise at all, so you don't need that much, but also you consume more than you actually need. But if you actually want to solve your health problem and you want to achieve a biological level that you can sustain over time, you want to get fit, you want to find what is the right nutrition for you, you want to feel great, then book a call and we can do a consultation and we can figure out what is going on, what you can do to actually fix it. I hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one.